Hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Ashmit Kumar and here are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. Government projects GDP growth for this fiscal at 6.4% in the first advance estimates. This is the slowest pace of growth in 4 years. Manufacturing sector likely to see the sharpest slowdown. A steady session on the Lal Street as sensex and Nifty regain some lost ground, but the gains are limited. The Indian rupee also records some losses. US dollar is under pressure even as US President-elect Donald Trump denied reports that he will water down the proposed tariff plans. Berger Paints actively looking at acquiring Akzo Nobel's India stake. Sources say that promoters are looking at exiting the India market by selling their 74% stake. JSW and Indigo Paints are also in the race. That's an exclusive. Private equity major Temasek is leading the race to acquire a minority stake in snack food giant Haldiram's. The potential pre-IPO deal is likely to value the company at around $10 billion. That's a money control exclusive. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella says the company will invest $3 billion in India. Nadella is in Bengaluru and promised to accelerate India's cloud and AI ecosystem. The upcoming budget is likely to focus on the depreciating rupee, supply chain risks from geopolitical tensions, impact of inflation, among others. Sources say measures like direct cash transfers and tax breaks are also likely to be on the cards. That's an exclusive. Heavy Industry Ministry backs the auto industry's demand for a GST cut on CNG two-wheelers, writes the Finance Ministry requesting tax rate cut from 28% to 18%. Road Transport, Environment and Petroleum Ministries support this proposal. Delhi will vote on the 5th of February in what will be the first assembly elections of 2025. Counting of votes will take place on the 8th of February. A fierce three-way contest between Aam Aadmi Party, BJP and the Congress beckons. At least 95 people are dead after a powerful 7.1 magnitude earthquake jolts a mountainous region of Tibet. The quake shook buildings in Nepal, Bhutan and parts of India. A World Economic Forum report shows global cooperation has remained stagnant. Geopolitical tensions and record displacement drag down global peace and security. Well, let's start with the market action for the day. A steady session on the Lal Street after yesterday's sell-off. Sensex gained over 230 points. The Nifty, meanwhile, moved back above the 23,700 mark. Mid-caps managed to outperform the blue chips, with the mid-cap index gaining over 500 points. The Nifty Bank Index gained over 280 points, meanwhile. And well, in the money markets, the rupee managed to recoup some losses against the US dollar. The dollar index has given up some gains after reports indicated that a US President-elect Donald Trump will be slower on his proposed tariff increases. But Trump has since denied this report and said that the proposed tariff plan will not be watered down. And meanwhile, back home, the government has projected India's GDP growth rate for this fiscal at 6.4% in its first advance estimates. This is the slowest pace of growth in 4 years. Lata Venkatesh joining us now with more details. Lata, help us decode these numbers. First, FY25 GDP estimates for us, 6.4%, a little cause for concern?
Yeah, that's right. At 6.4%, the number is a bit disappointing considering that the last official estimate we have is from the Reserve Bank, which is 6.6%. But 6.4% is still better than the 6.3%, which was the CNBC-TV18 poll. The other positive takeaway is that, in the second quarter, we only got a 5.4% growth. So clearly, that's an outlier. The average for the first half, Q1 and Q2 together, was 6%. If the overall year is 6.4, the arithmetic derivative is that Q3 and Q4, the economy grows at 6.7%. That is also encouraging and indicates economic recovery. A third positive from the numbers is that private final consumption expenditure, which was a mere 4% year ago, last year, FY24, is now estimated at 7.3%, which is very good. Even in the first half, the average works out to about 6.7. So clearly, the MOSPI estimates that overall private final consumption expenditure is going up. That is a positive. Other important takeaway, agriculture at 3.8%, much better than the about, I think, 1.4% last year. That is, again, a labor-intensive sector, population-intensive sector. If that's grown faster, that means a little more for consumption. The negative is the urban-heavy employment sector, trade, hotels, transport, and communication. That services sector is seen growing at only 5.8% by the MOSPI compared to 6.4% last year. That indicates that urban consumption probably is not going to recover that much. That would be a spot of bother. That's another derivative. That's on the real GDP, 6.4%. Let us look at the nominal GDP, that is GDP unadjusted for inflation. There, the MOSPI estimates that nominal GDP will grow this year by 9.7%. That's a bit lower than what last year's budget assumed. Last year's budget assumed a growth of 10.5% in nominal GDP to 326 lakh crore. What MOSPI is telling us, no, it is only going to become 324.1 lakh crore. So the overall GDP is around 2.2 trillion rupees less than what was estimated by the budget, in which case fiscal deficit, which was 4.9% of the nominal GDP, will have to be lower. It was estimated at 16.1 lakh crore. At the moment, the government will have to ensure that the fiscal deficit doesn't go above 15.8 lakh crore. That's not very difficult, about 35,000 crore less. In any case, the government perhaps is going to spend less on capex, and therefore that will not be very difficult for the government to assume. All told, the numbers are a little of a disappointment compared to the official estimates that we had, but overall, there are two positives. Consumption is a little better than it has been last year, or actually much better than what it has been last year. And 6.4 is still better than the 6.3. The next 6.3 that our poll was estimating. Now the scene shifts to the budget. We have to see what the budget estimates in terms of real GDP growth and nominal GDP growth.
Well, you can catch our comprehensive coverage on GDP advance estimates at 9:30 p.m. tonight. Well, on to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. Berger Paints is actively looking to buy Akzo Nobel's India stake. Sources have told us that the promoters of the Dutch paint giant are looking to exit the Indian market. Rachna Dhanrajani joins us now with more details. Rachna, tell us, what are you picking up?
The battle for Akzo Nobel's India stake is heating up. Berger Paints is likely to join the race to acquire Akzo Nobel's 74.6% stake as the global parent explores an exit from the Indian market. Sources have told CNBC-TV18 that the competition is between Berger, JSW and Indigo Paints, and the value of this deal is expected to be in the range of 10,000 to 12,000 crore rupees. Now, Akzo Nobel's India market cap currently stands at around 16,000 crore rupees, while its revenue for the September quarter was reported at 982 crore rupees. Let's compare that to Berger Paints' performance, where the revenue was at 2,775 crore rupees in the same period. As the contours of the deal, whether cash or a hybrid structure, continue to take shape, CNBC-TV18 is awaiting official responses from Akzo Nobel, Berger Paints and other companies involved. But we had the Berger management on the channel on November 6th, where they had said that though they usually look at smaller acquisitions, there is an interest in Akzo Nobel's India stake, and now we have it from our sources that the bids are being submitted for this acquisition. Back to you.
Right, Rachna, thanks a lot for that. Now, Berger Paints has issued a clarification on CNBC-TV18 report citing that there is no material event or development in this matter. Akzo Nobel also said that the company has not received any specific information from the parent company about any stake sale. Now, meanwhile, tech giant Microsoft is aiming to invest $3 billion in India by 2030. That's the word coming in from company CEO Satya Nadella. Speaking at a Microsoft event in Bengaluru, Nadella also said that the investment will mark the company's largest expansion in India. He also added that the company will train 10 million people in India in AI. This comes just a day after Nadella met with Prime Minister Modi in New Delhi.
We have a lot of regional expansion happening. And I'm really, really excited today to announce the single largest expansion we've ever done in India by putting $3 billion additional dollars to expand our Azure capacity. Very excited to announce today that our commitment, which we have always had, now is to train 10 million people in India around AI skills by 2030.
Now, shares of MobiKwik ended the day more than 8% in the green after the company's net loss narrowed sequentially in September 2024 quarter. Revenue rose 43% on an annual basis to 291 crore rupees. The company said that losses for the quarter were due to continued investments in the business for the next growth phase. Meanwhile, Maharashtra Natural Gas will list with an initial public offering of over 1,000 crore rupees. MNGL is a joint venture between Bharat Petroleum Corporation, GAIL and Indraprastha Gas. The oil marketing company said that BPCL's board has given its in-principle approval for this issue. And shares of Equinox India hit upper circuit in trade today after the NCLAT approved its merger with Embassy Group. The deal between the two companies was first announced in August of 2020 and Competition Commission of India and granted approval in February of 2021. However, the deal was stalled in March of 2023 when the Chandigarh bench of the NCLT flagged off concerns by the Income Tax Department. More court action. The Karnataka High Court has refused relief to e-scooter maker Ola Electric, which is facing CCPA probe into customer complaints. The court has asked the EV company to furnish additional documents with the CCPA over the next 6 weeks. Remember, the CCPA had issued a show-cause notice to Ola Electric and called for a probe into consumer complaints against the company. Well, here is a money control exclusive. Global investment company Temasek has emerged as the front-runner to pick up a minority stake in Haldiram snacks. Ashwin Mohan joins us now with more details. Ashwin, bring us more numbers. Tell us what you're picking up about this deal.
This is indeed the hottest deal in the Indian consumer sector, and for more than a year and a half, many of the top private equity funds have been yearning for a bite of this target. The latest that we're picking up from our sources is that Singapore investment giant Temasek has emerged as the frontrunner or lead contender as of now to pick up a minority stake in Haldiram Snacks Foods Private Limited, which of course is the demerged combined FMCG business of both the Delhi and the Nagpur families of the Haldiram group. What we're given to understand from our sources is that a term sheet has been signed between Temasek and Haldiram Snacks, and according to the term sheet, we're given to understand that the plan is to sell below 10% stake to Temasek at a pretty handsome valuation of $10 to $11 billion for the entire firm. That's what we're given to understand from our sources. Another aspect that one needs to keep in mind is that if at all the promoters of the Haldiram group want to sell additional stake over and above what is planned to Temasek, of course that window is open to them, and they can in fact use that window to get on board other private equity players. Of course, one needs to keep in mind that binding bids have also been submitted by the likes of Blackstone and Alpha Wave Capital. So that's the latest we're picking up. It's a no comment from Haldiram and Temasek for now. Keep an eye out on this one. We're given to understand that the final agreements are likely to be sealed or signed in February. Back to you.
Well, thanks a lot for that update, Ashwin. Now, with less than a month to go for the union budget, sources have told CNBC-TV18 that the budget is likely to focus on the depreciating rupee and supply-side risks from spreading geopolitical tensions. Timsy Jaipuria joining us now with more on that. Timsy, tell us what more can we expect from this budget?
As the stage is set for Finance Minister to announce the second full budget of the third tenure of the NDA government, sources have told CNBC-TV18 that the budget is likely to include policy measures to address challenges that are beyond India's control. The budget is likely to focus on depreciating rupee, supply-side risks from spreading geopolitical tensions. It is also likely to address the continuing impact of high inflation and talk about volatile commodity prices. Sources added that the upcoming budget may hold measures measures like direct benefit transfers, tax breaks to add to common man's disposable income, and it may also contain some new measures aimed at tackling the temporary drop in consumption to boost the sentiments of the people and of the economy. Sources who are in the know of the development also shared that the budget is likely to take forward the government's focus on job creation with measures to boost jobs both in rural and semi-urban areas. There could be more measures to enhance government's thrust on incentivizing job creation in both skilled and unskilled sectors. Sources also revealed that the government may consider reworking duties on several items such as gold that add to the trade deficit burden. And last but not the least, the government is considering some protectionist measures to aid domestic industry, especially which will boost the manufacturing sector, which could also feature in the budget. To be seen now is how the government is able to balance all of these in the upcoming budget. Back to you.
Right now, the countdown to the union budget has well and truly begun. India is looking to seize the moment and establish itself as a global economic outlier. The upcoming budget, which will be the NDA government's first full budget after the Lok Sabha election victory. Tell us what you want from Budget 2025 by submitting your wish list to the CNBC-TV18 budget box at hotspots near you and on CNBC-TV18.com. This is your budget headquarters. Join us on Budget Day for the biggest newsmakers and unparalleled insights. Oh, well, the Ministry of Heavy Industries has written to the Finance Ministry supporting the auto industry's demand for reducing GST on CNG two-wheelers from the current 28% to 18%. The proposal has also been supported by the Road Transport, Environment and Petroleum Ministries. Well, some national news now. The Election Commission has sounded the poll bugle for Delhi, and it's a three-way contest for Delhi with the Aam Aadmi Party, BJP and the Congress. All 70 assembly constituencies will vote in a single-phase election on the 5th of February. Counting will take place on the 8th of February. Announcing the election dates, the Chief Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar rejected allegations made by the Aam Aadmi Party and BJP on voter rolls. He also asserted that electronic voting machines are safe and called the allegations of tampering baseless.
There is no question of introducing virus or bug in the EVM. There is no question of invalid votes in the EVM. No rigging is possible. High Court and Supreme Court is saying continuously in different judgments which are here. No alteration in results is possible by activating a Trojan horse or a virus. Evidence inspires confidence of the court that they are tamper-proof. What else can be said? EVMs are foolproof devices for counting. Allegations of tampering are baseless.
And coming up on India Business Hour, a World Economic Forum report shows that global cooperation has remained stagnant. Details in just a bit. And you can also catch all CNBC TV18's news and updates on Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram, and JioCinema. Well, here's the big global story. At least 95 people have died and 130 others injured after multiple earthquakes rocked Tibet today. The first quake struck just after 9 a.m. local time. The strongest quake measured 7.1 on the Richter scale. Multiple aftershocks were also reported. Chinese President Xi Jinping said that nearly 1,500 firefighters and rescue workers were deployed for search operations. China has also sent relief material to the quake-hit regions. Tremors from Tibet shook buildings in Nepal, forcing people to run to the streets. Eyewitnesses said that trees and electric wires on streets were shaking for a while. The tremors were also felt in Bihar, Delhi NCR, and several areas in North India. People in Bihar were seen rushing outside their homes. However, no damage has been reported so far. And meanwhile, Israeli forces have allegedly killed at least 6 Palestinians, including a child, after attacking a residential building in Gaza. This has taken the death toll to at least 28 people in just the last 24 hours. United Nations Relief Agency has said that the efforts to save the lives of survivors in Gaza is at breaking point. Israeli forces have also launched a manhunt in West Bank after assailants killed 3 Israelis near an illegal settlement in the region. And Russia has claimed that its forces have captured a frontline town in eastern Ukraine's Donetsk region. The town has borne the brunt of Russian advances in recent months. Ukraine has not acknowledged the town's capture. Meanwhile, fierce fighting has continued in Russia's Kursk region in recent days after Ukraine launched a counter-offensive on Sunday. More global news. Justin Trudeau has announced that he will be stepping down as the Prime Minister of Canada after nearly a decade in power. Trudeau has also resigned as the leader of the Liberal Party of Canada. The move comes amidst rising dissent against him within his party. Meanwhile, incoming US President Donald Trump, who has criticized Trudeau in the past, has quipped that Canada should merge with the United States.
I intend to resign as party leader, as Prime Minister, after the party selects its next leader through a robust, nationwide, competitive process. Last night, I asked the President of the Liberal Party to begin that process. This country deserves a real choice in the next election, and it has become clear to me that if I'm having to fight internal battles, I cannot be the best option.
And in news now from across the Atlantic, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has condemned Elon Musk's remarks on child sexual abuse cases in the UK. With a flurry of posts on his social media platform X, Musk had accused Starmer and senior politicians of a cover-up in cases that date back to before 2010. An estimated 1,400 girls were exploited in the northern town of Rotterdam by what is referred to as grooming gangs made up largely of British Pakistani men. Similar gangs were also found to be operating in other towns and cities in England. Elon Musk made a number of unsubstantiated claims about Starmer being complicit in protecting these gangs and even said that Prime Minister should go to prison. Responding to the charges, Starmer said that Musk is spreading lies and that he's not interested in ensuring justice for the victims.
On the question of Elon Musk, look, I think most people are more interested in what's going to happen to the NHS, frankly, than what's happening on Twitter. Those that are spreading lies and misinformation as far and as wide as possible, they're not interested in victims. They're interested in themselves. Those who are cheerleading Tommy Robinson, not interested in justice. They're supporting a man who went to prison for nearly collapsing a grooming case, a gang grooming case.
Well, other European leaders have also expressed growing frustration with tech billionaire Musk. French President Macron has accused the world's richest man of intervening directly in democratic processes of multiple countries, including Germany. During his address to French ambassador, Macron also expressed surprise that Musk had chosen to back international reactionary movements. This comes soon after German Chancellor condemned Musk's erratic comments and his open support for the extreme right AfD party in Germany. When asked about Musk's insults directed at him, the Chancellor for Germany said that he will not court the billionaire's favor and told people not to feed the troll. Well, international collaboration between nations have stagnated after years of growth post the pandemic. As per a report by the World Economic Forum, heightened geopolitical tensions and economic pressures have been pulling down overall cooperation levels. Shivani Bajaj joins us now with more details. Shivani, take us through this report and what is WEF trying to say?
Well, the World Economic Forum's Global Cooperation Barometer 2025 shows that the global cooperation has stagnated in the recent years despite surpassing the pre-pandemic levels. Geopolitical tensions and economic pressures have led to a flatlining of international collaboration with key areas such as global peace and security under severe strain. The report reveals that number of conflicts and forcibly displaced people is rising in the world, which has significantly impacted the cooperation score in the security pillar. The barometer, as we know, uses 41 indicators indicators across 5 pillars, that is trade, innovation, climate, health and security, and the results show mixed progress in all of these segments. While cooperation on climate change remains strong, driven by increased financing and the adoption of low-carbon technologies like electric vehicles and renewables, the world is still falling short to achieve net zero targets. Only 17% of the Sustainable Development Goals are on track to be met. In innovation and technology, global cooperation has increased in the digital economies, but fragmentation around technology such as AI and semiconductors threatens to slow productivity growth. That's what the report says. In trade and capital flows, while goods trade dropped in China and developing economies, foreign direct investments surged in sectors like green energy and semiconductors. The report stresses the need for adaptive leadership with a call for nations to work together to address this global crisis. Back to you.
Now, NVIDIA chief Jensen Huang announced a new family of gaming chips based on the company's latest AI technology used in data centers. The new chips, which will cost as much as $2,000, were announced during Huang's keynote speech at the CES 2025 conference. Huang also added that the ChatGPT moment for robotics is just around the corner.
Humanoid robots, my friends, the ChatGPT moment for general robotics is just around the corner. And in fact, all of the enabling technologies that I've been talking about is going to make it possible for us in the next several years to see very rapid breakthroughs, surprising breakthroughs in general robotics.
Well, back home, tourism is poised to become the next big driver of India's economic growth. It already contributes significantly to India's GDP and is an employment generator. CNBC-TV18 Shivani Bajaj reports that the sector is undergoing a transformation that could be a game changer for India as it aspires to become a $5 trillion economy. But there are some big challenges that have to be addressed to keep international and domestic tourists coming back for more.
India's airports are crowded. Doesn't matter the time of the year or the time of the day. 80 international airlines fly in and fly out of India currently. And India's domestic airlines are on an aggressive expansion drive, having placed aircraft orders cumulatively worth $150 billion. A lot of this has to do with the explosion in tourism.
As far as tourism is concerned, this is going to be India's, not only India's decade, this is going to be India's century.
The global slump in tourism that arose in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic is firmly in the rearview mirror, especially for Indian tourism. The World Travel and Tourism Council says that the sector's contribution to India's GDP in 2023 stood at staggering 19.13 lakh crore rupees. Employment in the sector has grown 10% to nearly 42 million jobs, 8% higher than pre-pandemic levels. It is estimated that by the end of 2024, an additional 2.45 million jobs will be added to this number. 31% of these will be direct roles like tour guides, hotel staff and operators. The remaining 69% will be indirect jobs in areas like logistics, IT, supply chain management.
Problem is when we talk tourism, we just get lost in domestic and foreign tourism or inbound travel. But there is far more. The jobs are also created. Maximum multiplicator is hospitality.
The spurt in domestic tourism has a big role to play in this growth. WTTC data suggests that domestic spending has surged between 2019 and 2023, outpacing international spending. However, international inbound tourism has also grown. Industry data shows foreign tourist arrivals between January and August 2024 were 3.7% higher than a year ago, and foreign exchange revenues rising 15.64% to 1.71 lakh crore. And India's attractions are many and varied. From spiritual tourism to vacation tourism, to destination weddings, to adventure tourism, to wellness retreats, to medical tourism, and to heritage and cultural tourism.
Tourism's biggest contributor in economic terms should be jobs, then GDP. But the one we miss always is the soft power of tourism. Even the mighty Taj, which is the most stunning, monument probably in the world, most people don't spend the night. And the lament of hoteliers in Agra is people don't spend the night. Why? Because there's nothing to do at night. We don't want people to go and see the Taj at night most of the time. Why not?
Despite these successes, the sector faces challenges.
Well, there is no doubt that India's tourism sector is not just recovering, it's thriving. Experts predict that by 2034, the industry's GDP contribution could double to 43.25 lakh crore rupees. But from an experiential point of view, tour operators say that India is losing out due to a poor overall travel experience, often marred by logistical difficulties, overcrowded tourist spots, and sometimes even unfriendly locals. There is also a need to significantly ramp up investment in tourism infrastructure and marketing spends and improve tourism policies like streamlining visa policies and processes. This is something countries like Thailand, Vietnam, and even Saudi Arabia are actively doing, and the results are evident in their tourism numbers. Indian tourism's momentum is expected to stay the course in 2025, but an extra push could well make it the cornerstone of India's growth story. In New Delhi, this is Shivani Bajaj.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of India Business Hour. Thank you so much for watching. News and updates will continue right here on CNBC-TV18.